Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video, there's quite a few things to negotiate about. So I am going to be giving you the latest news on Jadon Sancho. I have been talking with you about Sancho on a regular basis. Then I'm going to be giving you the talking points from our 5-2 victory against Bournemouth yesterday. So anyway, let's start with the news on Sancho. So according to recent reports, Jadon Sancho could put a transfer request in at Borussia Dortmund. If Dortmund refuse to let him come to Manchester United. Now, earlier on this week, there were stories coming from Ian McGarry, who was a transfer expert, and he said that Jadon Sancho has agreed terms with Manchester United, and he says he has agreed a 5-year contract with the football club worth around £140,000 a week. But no fee has yet come to an agreement. The fee seems to be the stumbling block because Dortmund have said several times that they do want at least £100 million. I think Dortmund do value Sancho at around £115 million. But we have said quite a few times we are not willing to smash our transfer record for Jadon Sancho. By the way, these stories were also stemming from Duncan Castles saying that we've agreed personal terms, and Duncan Castles tends to be close to Manchester United. We've already confirmed what we are willing to pay for Sancho, and it says we're only willing to pay £50 million, no more. But of course, £50 million is going to be nowhere near enough, to convince Borussia Dortmund to offload him. Now, Jadon Sancho did say if he was to leave Borussia Dortmund, his preferred option would be a move to Manchester United. Now, I've outlined a few of the reasons why I take Jadon Sancho at the football club is because he is well proven in the Premier League. He's also got a very, very good friendship with Marcus Rashford. And plus, he is predominantly a right winger, and Manchester United are in search for a right winger. Now, revert back to February, or was it early March, it had said that Jadon Sancho had agreed almost every little detail of a move to Man United. He said the only thing that hadn't been agreed was the fee. So like I said, that seems to be the stumbling block at the moment. Now, not too long ago, Borussia Dortmund had set the deadline for Sancho, and he said, Sancho's got to decide on his future before the start of next season, or Borussia Dortmund are not determined to sell him. I think the German transfer window opens in October. You had the Borussia Dortmund CEO the other week saying that he expects Jadon Sancho to stay at Dortmund for next season because he's very, very convinced that no club will meet their valuation for the player. You had Lucien Favre, the Borussia Dortmund boss. I think he said, was it last month, that, Jadon Sancho could still leave Borussia Dortmund in the summer transfer window. Now, of course, Pep Guardiola at Manchester City, he's distanced himself away from Jadon Sancho because there were stories coming out quite a few weeks ago saying that Sancho is open to making a return to Man City, as we, have been struggling to meet their asking price. Sancho is a former Manchester City player. He did endure 2 years with them. But the main explanation why he left Manchester City is because he did not get any first-team opportunities. And of course, Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool has distanced himself away from Jadon Sancho. So as far as I'm aware, we're the only team that are now in for Sancho. But we've been in for him for the last few years. We first expressed our interest in him in 2017, Sancho and that. Dortmund will make a huge profit on the player because Dortmund got him for next to nothing from Man City. They only paid £8 million for him. And this has been now Jadon Sancho's third season with Dortmund, but analyse his performances in the few years he has been with them, his valuation has persistently grown. Sancho's already confirmed that he's got no intentions of extending his contract. Sancho has got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. But, he does remain our number one priority target. We've already made a promise to Sancho anyway. We made this promise a while back. It said we are willing to offer him the number 7 because we have got number 7 vacant at the moment. You know, we have had a lot of good number 7s up and down the generations. You know, we had Ronaldo, best 7 we've had, and the best player we've had in the Premier League era. We had Michael Owen at number 7 at one point, George Best, David Beckham. You know, recent number 7s though haven't been so good because Sanchez was inconsistent and so too was Memphis Depay. And Dortmund are known as a selling football club because they have let quite a few of their players go to the Premier League in recent years. There's also players that they've let go who didn't go to the Premier League. So they did generate a lot of money for their departures, but they've done some recruitment in recent years. You know, back in January they got Erling Haaland. You know, they got likes of Thorgan Hazard and Julian Braun in recent years. They also got Emre Can recently. You know. So yeah, so if Dortmund are refusing to let him leave, then I think, you know, Jadon Sancho, you know, is going to put a transfer request in. But we have been in negotiations with his agent for quite some time, and we've also been working on his contract. We've been working on his contract and all of that. And Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he's spoken about the Jadon Sancho transfer saga quite a few times. You know, as Fabrizio Romano, he came out quite a few weeks ago and said that Sancho will accept an offer from Man United. But he did say, you know, we've not yet put a bid in for the player. You know. So yeah, it's been a really, really long-running transfer saga. You know, Jadon Sancho. You know, we have looked at a few alternatives to Jadon Sancho. You know, if we do miss out on him, you know, I will make that admission. You know, there's cheaper solutions out there than Jadon Sancho. Don't forget, was it quite a few weeks ago now, Jadon Sancho got fined £8,000 for breaking lockdown rules. And at that point, Borussia Dortmund did say that they were losing their patience with Sancho. When the German football season resumed, of course, you know, Jadon Sancho didn't start the first few games because, you know, he had been out with a calf injury. But he is only at the age of 20. Probably, you know, Sancho's only going to be the Galactico sign that we are going to make in the summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So I think maybe in some of the transfer window, you know, we could make 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 signings in that. But yeah, so that is the latest news on Jadon Sancho anyway. Now, let's give you the talking points from our 5-2 win against Bournemouth yesterday. I've already given you my match reaction and I've already given you my player rating. So, one of the talking points was Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood did score 2 goals yesterday. That's 3 goals now in 2 starts because he also scored in the 3-0 win against Brighton and he also got an assist in the 3-0 win against Brighton. Solskjaer has been talking a lot about Mason Greenwood recently. You know, he said he's a better finisher than Wayne Rooney was at his age. And he also said he's way ahead of him. Solskjaer said Mason Greenwood's way ahead of him at the same age. But definitely, you know, Mason Greenwood is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. He really, really is. What a player he is, Mason Greenwood. I think now he's on 15 goals in all competitions this season. And he looks very, very effective on that right-hand side. And Greenwood's only the age of, 18 or 19. But it's good now that he's getting more starts. Because earlier on in the season, the vast majority of his appearances were coming from that substitutes bench were Mason Greenwood's. So yeah, you know, he was definitely, you know, one of the talking points yesterday. Also, too, Bruno Fernandez, he was also another one of the talking points. Bruno Fernandez did get 2 assists in the game. You know, he got the assist for Mason Greenwood's first, and he got the assist for Anthony Martial's third. Also, Bruno Fernandez had scored our 5th goal. And Bruno Fernandez has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I think Bruno Fernandez, has he now got, is it like 6 or 7 goals for us since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon in January? You know, we got Bruno Fernandez in a deal worth around £65 million. And I think he did sign a 5-year contract to the football club. Or was it a 5.5-year deal? In nearly every single Premier League match, Bruno Fernandez has been given man of the match, reflecting on his good run of performances. And don't forget, back in February, he got Premier League Player of the Month, reflecting on his good run of performances. But yes, so Bruno Fernandez got 2 assists yesterday. He also scored, and he also scored twice in the 3-0 win against Brighton. But definitely, he's making the difference in the team. So he was definitely, one of the talking points. Another one of the talking points was Marcus Rashford. Like I said yesterday, I thought Rashford had a really, really good game. Obviously, scored the goal from the penalty spot. Of course, we got the penalty because it was a handball from Adam Smith. That did end, Rashford's 7-month goal drought. It was his first goal since the resumption of the season. Like I said earlier on in the season, though, Rashford was a big miss for us because he's actually, one of our best players. I think now Rashford's on his 20 goals now this season. Up until this point, Rashford has spent the entirety of his career with a football club. He has been a United player since the age of 7, and he has been in our senior squad since 2016. But since then has become an integral part of our team. Of course, Rashford was playing out wide yesterday. To be honest with you, I think he's very, very effective, when he does play out wide. When he does play out wide. Another one of the talking points. Another one of the talking points was David De Gea and Harry Maguire. I don't think they were so good in my opinion. I thought Harry Maguire and David De Gea were both accountable for Bournemouth's first goal from Junior Stanislas, because Junior Stanislas had nutmegged Harry Maguire and he'd beaten David De Gea at the near post and all of that. My perception on David De Gea is that he is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Reflecting on what he's achieved at the football club, because, he has won everything here domestically with us. He's also, won individual awards, reflecting on his good run of performances. And this has been David De Gea's 9th season at Manchester United. And analysing it, I think he's had 7 good years out of the 9 years he has been at the football club. But in the last couple of years, he has been a liability, reflecting on the mistakes he has made. And I thought some of his clearances yesterday, were very, very poor. David De Gea is now approaching his 10th year at Manchester United, and he has been at the football club since 2011. We paid £17 million for him from Atletico Madrid. Yes, that's how much we paid for him. And I did say, when David De Gea does eventually leave Manchester United, he will go back to Spain. The main explanation is because he was born in Spain, his relatives are from Spain, his girlfriend's from Spain. And back in 2015, he was very, very close to joining Real Madrid. But due to a fax machine, the deal never materialised. By the way, David De Gea has nearly made 400 appearances for us in all competitions. Last September, he signed a 4-year deal with the club worth $375,000 a week. So he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, and he's the highest paid at the football club. My perception on Harry Maguire, my perception on him is that, like I said, he was accountable for Bournemouth's first goal yesterday. I thought he had a pretty poor game, did Harry Maguire, to be quite honest with you. Looked a bit exposed in that back line. I don't think he was too good, Harry Maguire, to be quite honest with you. But I still think he's enjoyed a very, very good season for Man United overall. This has been his first season at the football club. I still think we made the right decision by giving him the captaincy. We're giving the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire last summer. So he is the most expensive centre-half in the world, and the second most expensive sign at the football club, just behind Paul Pogba. So there you go. So that was another one. There was another one of the talking points, David De Gea and Maguire. I thought Anthony Martial, he was also a talking point in the game. Like I said, he scored the 3rd goal, Anthony Martial. He's done very, very well this season under Solskjaer. As you all know, this season, Anthony Martial's been playing in that number 9 role. So he has been playing centrally, but he looks very, very effective in that central position. But that's not Anthony Martial's central position. Predominant position. Martial's predominant position is out wide. But he's very, very effective in that central position. This has now been Martial's 5th season at Manchester United. Got to say, one of the best seasons he enjoyed was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era and that. But I think Martial's now on 20 goals for the season. I think Martial, Rashford and Greenwood, between them all, they've got 55 goals for us this season in all competitions. So it just indicates how, how good, they have been playing. Got to say, Victor Lindelof, he was also one of the talking points as well. I thought he had a poor game, did Victor Lindelof. I thought Joshua King dealt with Victor Lindelof far too easily. Looks very, very exposed in that back line. And now there's some United fans saying that, maybe Victor Lindelof needs to be dropped. Of course, in the game yesterday, he did get substituted. Eric Bailly came on for him. I don't think Eric Bailly, though, was too good, when he came on. Eric Bailly, was the one that, gave away the penalty. Joshua King had converted that penalty in that. But some United fans will still say that, their preference would be Bailly over Victor Lindelof. I won't take anything away from Victor Lindelof. I still think, he's a very, very good centre-half for us. We got him in 2017 from Benfica, paid around £30 million for him. Struggled for that consistency in his first season, but I think last season, this season, a lot of aspects of his game have really, really improved with Victor Lindelof's. But, would you put Bailly ahead of Lindelof? But there again, on the other hand, there's been stories coming out of the mainstream media recently saying that we're considering loaning Eric Bailly out. He's a very, very good centre-half, is Eric Bailly. My only element of concern about him is that, he's very, very injury-prone. This has been now Bailly's 4th season at Manchester United. We paid, £30 million for him from Villarreal. He's only scored 1 goal for the football club. So, yeah, they are the talking points from the game. But overall, I thought it was a very, very good performance from Man United. We did start the game a bit slow, but as the game went on, we grew into the game. Reflect on the win yesterday against Bournemouth. That extends our unbeaten run to 16 games in all competitions. And that's our best. This is our best vein of form since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. I think we are now unbeaten in our last, 9 Premier League games. We're unbeaten now in our last 9 Premier League games. In our last 9 Premier League games, and Solskjaer named an unchanged side. I think we've gone with the same side in the last 3 league games for the first time since November 2006. The first time we have done that. And it's actually, the first time we've scored 5 goals in the Premier League under Solskjaer since, the 5-1 win against Cardiff, which was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge of Manchester United. But you can see the improvements in the team. I've seen a hell of a lot of improvements. We're scoring more goals, we're being more clinical in front of goal. We're creating more chances and all of that. We do defensively look better because in this 16-game unbeaten run, we have kept a lot of clean sheets. Weren't so good defensively yesterday. Of course, Chelsea beat Watford yesterday 3-0. So, we are now back out of the top 4. But I expected us to beat Bournemouth. I really, really did because, Bournemouth are a very, very poor side. They're a very, very poor side. I think Bournemouth are going to get relegated this season. They are sitting, 19th in the Premier League. And I think, if Bournemouth do go down, I think that, probably Eddie Howe, could end up getting the sack. Eddie Howe has spent the vast majority of his, managerial career with Bournemouth. Also spent the vast majority of his playing career with Bournemouth, did Eddie Howe. This has been Bournemouth's 5th season in the Premier League. They did come up in 2015. They have beaten us twice in the Premier League era. They did beat us at the Vitality Stadium earlier on in the season 1-0. They also beat us 2-1 back in 2015. You know, Bournemouth are in a really bad vein of form. I think they have now lost their last 5 Premier League games. Also, 3 of their players did depart earlier on this week, and that was Jadon, Jermaine Defoe and Ryan Fraser, because their contracts had expired. Callum Wilson didn't play yesterday because Callum Wilson is suspended. I think he got a 2-game suspension. I think he's now done his 2-game suspension. Of course, Charlie Daniels wasn't playing because he was injured, and so too Simon Francis. He was also injured as well. You know, he was. But I knew, you know, we would beat Bournemouth. But Solskjaer, you know, did say prior to the game against Bournemouth that, you know, we have not got an easy running in the Premier League. We haven't got an easy running in the Premier League, because there's been a lot of Manchester United fans saying that we have got an easy running, and I was one of them as well. I said, you know, we've got an easy running, but Solskjaer did say we have got points to prove against the teams that we struggled against earlier on in the season. You know, we've obviously, you know, got Villa coming up next. We're due with them 2-2 early on in the season. We've got Southampton also coming up. You know, we're due with them earlier on in the season, 1-1. We've got Palace also coming up soon. You know, we lost to them early on in the season, 2-1. Also to West Ham are coming up. You know, we lost to them early on in the season, 2-0. So we have still got points to prove against the teams we struggled against earlier on in the season and all of that. Maybe for the Villa game, you know, Solskjaer may want to go with an unchanged team again. You know, Solskjaer now knows his best 11 at Manchester United. I think he also knows his best formation. You know, a lot this season he has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation, and I think that's the formation he is going to stick with. Throughout the course of this season, Solskjaer has made a lot of rotation, you know, reflects on the amount of injuries that we had earlier on in the season and all of that. But I definitely believe that we are going to finish the season on a high. We are going to finish the season on a high. Solskjaer's challenged us to go unbeaten for the remainder of the season. But like I said, top 4 is definitely our priority, because we do want qualification for the Champions League for next season. Also too, the Europa League and the FA Cup are 2 priorities for us, because that's a chance for us winning 2 trophies under Solskjaer this season, because we've not yet won out in terms of silverware under Solskjaer. And, you know, we haven't won a trophy since 2017, and that's when we won the Europa League and the League Cup under Jose Mourinho. You know, we won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal back in 2016. So we've only won 3 trophies, you know, since Ferguson's retirement and that. You know, but if we could win the FA Cup and the Europa League, or at least one of them, it would be a memorable first full season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United. It really, really would. We are into the semi-finals of the FA Cup. We've got Chelsea, and we're more or less into the last day of the Europa League. Solskjaer, by the way, was recently targeting a 3rd place finish, because we can still finish 3rd. We are, I think, 3 points behind 3rd place at the moment, because Leicester beat Crystal Palace yesterday by 3-0. Like I said, our expectations next season will be to challenge for the Premier League title. And Solskjaer did recently agree with Gary Neville that, you know, there's still lots of work to be done on and off the pitch, you know, if we are to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. I think we are probably around 2 or 3 signings away from mounting a title challenge up. But I'm hopeful at some point that we can get our 21st title under Solskjaer. Of course, we have won 20 titles at the moment, 13 of them Premier Leagues. So we are the most successful team in England, but we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season, but this has been the 7th season now we have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. And Solskjaer, you know, has been at the football club now 18 months, and I think he's been permanent Manchester United manager for around 15 months. You know, and I've got to say, you know, I've taken positives from his tenure so far. You know, like I said, he's brought 5 good players into the football club so far and spent just over £200 million on them. He got these 5 players in the 2 previous transfer windows because he didn't recommend anyone in his first transfer window. You know, but the 5 players he's brought in have been very, very impressive. Also too, Solskjaer has promoted the youth very, very well. You know, the young players have been given their opportunities this season. Our record against the Big Six sides this season has been very, very good because we've taken 18 points against the Big Six sides this season. Also too, Solskjaer has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into the football club. You know, a hell of a lot of players have left since he came in. And like I said, you know, Solskjaer's got big decisions to make in the summer transfer window. You know, what players he's going to recommend in, and of course, what players he's going to get rid of. I think he's going to get rid of at least 5 players in the summer transfer window. And if we can do that, we will generate money that way. So there's definitely no positives to take from his tenure so far. Don't forget, earlier on in the season, we enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And at that point, you know, Solskjaer was, you know, under serious pressure at the football club. But I've already gone through with you, you know, what saved Solskjaer's job at Manchester United, and that was definitely the signing of Bruno Fernandez. I think with him being a club legend as well, that could also play a part in it. Because, you know, Solskjaer was a great player for the football club for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. So, you know, this is, you know, what saved his job at Manchester United. But definitely will be here next season, even if we weren't to get qualification for the Champions League. You know, he'll still be at Manchester United because he does deserve at least another season because it is a transition period. And like Solskjaer revealed at the beginning of the year, he's hopeful that we can get through this transition period. But Solskjaer knows next season he'll have bigger expectations to exceed and all of that. I'm actually not sure how much we're going to get to spend in the summer transfer window because Solskjaer came out the other week and said he's unsure how much we're going to get to spend because of the financial impacts of the coronavirus pandemic. Don't forget the other month, Ed Woodward did say that we won't do business as usual in the summer transfer market, but he did say, you know, we will remain competitive in the summer transfer market. Our net debt is just over 429 million. That got revealed the other month when Ed Woodward had revealed our financial figures. And also, too, our debt had risen up by almost £130 million. You know, the coronavirus pandemic has cost us around £28 million. So there's a lot of uncertainty for the summer transfer window. Solskjaer did say, though, we have confirmed our transfer expectations for the summer. He says we need to make around 1 or 2 good decisions, you know, if we are to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool and that. But yeah, earlier on in Solskjaer's managerial career, he worked out his transfer strategy and he said, you know, he wants to recruit young British talents to Manchester United. By the way, we are still facing a bit of a dilemma regarding the contracts, you know, because we have got around, 6, 7, 8, 9 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. But to be fair, since Solskjaer came in, we have extended a lot of players' contracts. You know, there's some players that have deserved contract renewals and there's some players that have not deserved new contracts and all of that. I think Solskjaer's just got under 2 years left on his Man United contract because when he got the job permanently last year, he signed a 3-year contract at the football club. But minimum, Solskjaer, I think now we'll see out his contract. But, you know, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. And like I said, he's got some managerial experience now because he's gained that managerial experience reflecting on the amount of time he's been with us. You know, before he was with us, he was at Molde, won a couple of Norwegian titles with them. And before he was at Molde, he was at Cardiff. You know, enjoyed a very, very short tenure with Cardiff. The main explanation Solskjaer got sacked from Cardiff is because he ended up getting Cardiff relegated and all of that. Don't forget he managed the Man United reserve team for a couple of years. He watched some of this team at this day and age grow and develop, did you know, Solskjaer and that. But like I said, in the last 7 years, you know, we have been playing catch-up. You know, we really, really have. And I think one of the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent in the last 7 years, you know, is reflecting on the amount of mistakes that we have made. Like I said, in the last 7 years, you know, I don't like the way the football club has been run. You know, in the last 7 years, there's been cultural problems at the club. You know, there's been a lot of problems with the club's board. You know, there's been problems with Ed Woodward. There's also been problem with the Glazers and that. You know, Woodward's been with us since 2012, and the Glazers have been with us since 2005. You know, the main explanations why we've been very critical of Woodward is reflecting on the decisions he's made, because a lot of the decisions he's made have been bad decisions. Recruitment policy's been poor for so long, but it's improved now under Solskjaer. With us overpaying for players, also Ed Woodward has been criticised for that. And, you know, like I said, we was very critical of Solskjaer earlier on in the season. But, you know, Solskjaer is our 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. Like I said, 3 managers have been sacked since the Ferguson era, and that was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. But in the last 7 years, we spent close to the £1 billion range on players. So reflecting on, you know, the money we've spent, people should say, you know, we should be in Liverpool's position, because we have recruited over 30-odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era. But to be quite honest with you, I'm starting to get glimpses now of the Alex Ferguson days. You know, I am getting glimpses of it. I really, really am. Like I said, we haven't dominated English football since the Alex Ferguson era, but hopefully, you know, we can get back, you know, to as we was under the Ferguson era. You know, Ferguson endured 26 years at Man United, endured 22 years of success, because put into the equation, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United, but we did win a total of 38 major honours under him, including 13 Premier League titles. But before them 13 Premier League titles, it took us 26 years to win a title, don't forget. So yeah, so that's everything to update. So that's the news on Sancho. That's the talking points from the Bournemouth game. Victor Lindelof, I think, has got an injury, by the way. This is the explanation why Solskjaer had brought Victor Lindelof off. I don't know how severe his injury is. Fernandez and Pogba, don't forget, recently got injured in a training ground collision, but obviously, you know, the injuries weren't severe because they started yesterday against Bournemouth and that. The Villa game is on the 9th. The preview for that will be coming up on the 7th. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.